All right, yes, hello everybody. Hey, welcome to the first edition of IRC D&D. If anybody wants to, you can let FoundLRH know that we're doing this, because I think we just went live on the stream right there. All right, so this is a short online adventure. We're going to be playing with like a modified version of second edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Oh God, look at this guy. What a G. All right, so we're going to play mostly second edition right here. I am Load Ray Dio, or Zach ZYZ, whatever you prefer. And then I'm going to read off the people going clockwise. So my screen will be the authoritative one, because I'm the one streaming there. So at the bottom right here, we have Zartet, who's playing a druid. At the bottom left, we have Logic, who's playing a rogue. At the far left, we have Angie, who's playing a ranger. And at the dead center of the table, we have Kuntz, who's playing a fire mage. Okay, so all this is going to take place in a world called Arcady. There are several fantasy novels written in this. You can gander up here on your screen if you want to take a gander at them. All right, and the story thus far is that all four of these intrepid adventurers have been summoned to the King of Iran. So I'm going to just onto the screen right here. Let me pop in here and I'll show you guys this big old map right here. So they are over here in this area called Pi, or Pies right here. And they have to take a ship all the way over here to this area of Iran. It's a very beautiful map, I know. I hope you all enjoy right there. So the story begins with Zartet is a farmer in the area of Pies, and has been called essentially to apologize to the king for an insult offered to him through a vicious beating that these four adventurers delivered onto one of his representatives in the town. The less said about how this came to happen, the better, but I believe everybody was significantly drunk at the time. And so the four of you have been summoned to apologize in person to the king. To get there, you'll have to take a ship all the way over to Iran, a journey of some probably about, I'd say, a fortnight or more. So thus you do. So Zartet brings his three closest companions who are also involved in this tavern brawl, and if you do not apologize, you will be executed by the order of the Imperial Court of Iran. So, making all possible haste, you set your affairs in order and board the black ship Hesychus. It's commandeered by Captain Longrod Johnson. No, sorry, I'm getting around. So it's captained by Eric Red, also out of the city of Iran. So for about 10 days of your journey, you're sailing towards the city of Iran, wondering what's going to happen to you when you go and prostrate yourself before King Jordi III of Iran. Now, your whole story here starts about 10 days in, just as night is starting to fall. All of you have been talking, hanging out on the ship, and are at this point just completely miserable and sick of just the constant rocking of the boat, and essentially heading to what could be a terrible punishment. He could be planning to lock you all up in the dungeon. He could be planning to cut off one of each of your hands. There's no real way of telling. He's a very capricious and cruel king. However, on the night of the 10th day of your journey, you see something strange, a red streak in the sky. And then it's such an unusual thing. It's not a comet. It's not a falling star or anything. Just a red streak seems to be descending towards the earth. And then suddenly, the night sky becomes as bright as dawn, and you see a streak sail down to the south, and then a tremendous burst of what could be distant flame. And while I'm here, I want to shout out to Jira and Stratum who have joined us in the YouTube chat right there. Thank you very much for joining. So with this tremendous fireball on the southern horizon, your ship is also caught in a tremendous storm. There is a huge howling wind that rises up and pushes your ship far out to sea. So let me tell you something about the realm of Arcady. So for viewers on the screen, I'm going to pop to our other thing. So you can see the large map of the continental map right here. So if you can see that large hurricane shaped eye right here, so the sea that they're on right here is somewhat similar to the river Styx in that the deeper you go into it, the more of your memories you lose. No one's sure exactly why, but everyone knows that if you sail too deep into the sea, you will forget everything, down to your own name, where you were born, every single thing. And in fact, the streets are full of men who have been blown off course and wander the streets with gray, washed-out eyes and no recollection of any part of their lives. So, in any case, as you hear this tremendous boom of thunder, and then a hot wind blows, and then your ship is suddenly caught in a gigantic squall. The seas rise high, and the ship is driven north into uncertain seas. And so in this world, it'd be similar to around the time of Greek triremes and so forth. You know how in Civilization, your trireme can't go too far from the shore? Well, that's just the same thing with the boats that you guys are riding around in. And now you've been swept out into the deep sea. So for many days and many nights following it, the ship is battered in high seas, and a constant, strange, hot storm washes over the ship. It's very unseasonable for it to be scalding hot at all times, and for a while, the four of you wonder if the world is going to end. Finally, many members of the crew have been knocked over, like just battling against the winds and fighting, and at last, you're starting to realize there are not enough men left to sail this ship, and you are compelled to pitch in and do what you can, even though you're passengers. It's everyone for themselves. So for several days, you're fighting against the unrelenting storm. Finally, masts are starting to break, lines are snapping, and the ship is slowly coming apart. You reach a point where you look around, and the four of you are the only people left alive on the ship. The masts have been snapped, the sails are gone, and all you can do is drift. Which is a pretty terrible predicament to be in there. So when the morning rises and the ship is drifted out into the dark gray portion of the sea called the Atormentum, all of you realize that you are starting to forget. First, just little things, like where you were yesterday, why you're on this ship, how you know each other. All these things are slowly drifting away from you, and you're sailing into a deeper and deeper fog and in danger of losing your very selves. At last, a fortuitous wind starts to drive the ship back to shore, but you don't recognize the landscape that you're on. Furthermore, though the ship is being driven in towards land, on the distant horizon, you can see another ship following you, coming from the deepest part of the sea. On this broken up ship, you begin, you're driven in towards the sea and can see, coming from the north, a strange vessel. Let me see something. All right, so everybody here, go ahead and give me your wisdom scores. Who has the best?
Mine's 15.
All right. So wisdom is like, for people who have never seen Dungeons and Dragons before, wisdom is a general measure of like how much you know and who you are and what's going on there. All right, you got 15 there, Big Kuntz. Very wise of you. What about you, Zartan?
Sorry, my wisdom is a 14.
14? And then logic? What do you got?
Mine is 12.
12. Not so wise. Big
Nice.
Angie the Bold, what have you got?
13.
13? Okay.
I like Zartan the best.
You want to try Zartan? Wait, shut the fuck up, Lito. All right.
I
So
think that was
Kuntz,
the dog, actually.
you have the best chance of you have the absolute best chance of figuring out what ship pursues you. You want to try your luck?
Wait, are there two ships pursuing?
There's a
us?
single ship pursuing you. It's a
okay.
black vessel with dark sails, and you do not recognize them. You feel like you should remember something about this ship. Let's find out if you know what's what. All right, you got a 15? What do we got? Yeah, you got a big 12. All right, so Zartet, through the fog of misremembering, you recall that this particular outline of the ship, with its sort of red trim, black sails, and gruesome figurehead, is a Earthworth slaver ship. So it's probably bad news. So the four of you are on a ship that's sort of drifting. You've just made sight of land, off in the distance. But the ship seems to be barreling towards you. What would you like to do?
So we're on like a trieme
Yeah.
that's like around the coast.
Yeah.
But
You're on a coastal
how
train.
far off the coast are we?
So I would say that you're about half a mile off of the coast right now. Most of the
ship is
yeah.
what distance from us?
Yeah, the ship would be at this point. They're just coming over the horizon, so I'd say that they are probably about 2 or 3 miles away from you at least. But they're definitely headed in your direction, and they're rowing from like directly out at sea into you, which is a very strange sight to see.
And you said it was a
So-
slaver ship?
Yeah.
Typically,
Earth-
so
Earth
just to give you an
sailors.
idea, even though everything is somewhat hazy for all of you, and it's hard to remember, the Earthworth or Legion are sort of the scourge of the northern part of Arcady. They wear heavy armor, they ride around in their ships, and anybody that they can find, they enslave. Anybody who puts up too much of a fight, they behead them, they clean out their skulls, and they offer them in sacrifice to Earthworth, their volcano god.
Earthworth is the name of the volcano. God.
It's the name of their city and their volcanic god.
Is any of the wreckage? I mean, is it just? What is the condition of our ship? It's
The condition
completely
of your
battered?
ship-
Are we basically adrift on wood, or
The condition of your ship is battered. None of the masts are operational. Almost all of the oars have been snapped. Everybody has been swept overboard except for you four. Supplies are limited. Morale is low. However, there is one dinghy remaining that you think you have one oar for it, but you could maybe improvise something.
Let's do it.
I think we should get on this thing and take off, guys.
Dude, we're off
Can
to
we
the
all
ass,
fit on it?
we have to.
The four of you could probably fit onto the dinghy.
That'd be a tight squeeze.
Who? Yeah, or even one of us could hang out, or a couple of us could hang out outside and help push or something and swim. As long as hang on
What?
or after something.
What about? You know what?
Okay, well, old men and ladies first, right?
Okay, so what if we put like the mast? Is it the mast still there?
Say that again. So
Is the mast still available?
the mast of the
Is
ship
there some
has been
chunks of
snapped in
wood we
half.
can
It's
pull
basically a jagged pillar jutting about to about chest height with the rest of
Can we
you.
fashion some type of raft out of that would fit all four of us comfortably?
All four of you would fit in the dinghy as is. Yeah, you have.
Okay, well,
So essentially, let
then
me give you an
dinghy.
idea of what you have access to. You have this
I'm
battered
thinking-
dinghy that has just one oar. That's why it's still there. There's only one oar, and
Can
most
I
of the
paddle
people.
with my hands?
You could try. You could certainly
I
try.
will do it. I'll do my best.
Well, we could probably, yeah, if the mast is broken, there's probably a splinter or something we could fashion into a second paddle.
Are you saying that you want to search the ship and try to find something that you can salvage
We
into
need
a
to
paddle?
go.
Yeah, time is of the essence as well.
You
As you're
know,
deliberating,
Right.
the slaver
Is there
ship is
anything
getting ever
immediately
closer.
In my area,
Say it again.
anything I see in my immediate area around the dinghy
All right.
that
Well,
I could use to fashion as a second oar.
let's
I'll
make a
go. I
perception
jumped in the
check
dinghy.
for you. Zartet, you're the one who's going to try and fashion a second oar. Or let's make a perception check for you right there. Let's see.
Okay,
What's your
my
intelligence?
Intelligence is 12.
All right. How's it go? You got a big 10. You were able to find a bit of plank right over the captain's quarters that's flat. It's like a piece of trim that was already kind of halfway off there, and you're able to snap it off, and you think it will work as a serviceable oar.
Great.
Mr. Load, before we depart
Mm-hmm.
the ship, is there anything I could carry in my hand, like a lantern, a torch, some food, a map?
We gotta go.
All right, well, you can. I tell you what, if you want to delay and try and find something to loot, you certainly have that option. But what's everybody else doing while he's casting his eyes around for plunder?
I'm
I'm
headed
in
towards
the-
the dinghy.
Beckoning.
Do it
Okay.
fast. I'm done.
Does the dinghy like descends off the side of the boat, or is it like on the deck?
As of right now, it's on the deck and it's kind of flipped over and lashed to the deck.
Oh shit.
Well, I'm like unlashing the dinghy.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Zartet is
I'm
unlashing the dinghy. Logic, what are you doing?
Same thing. I'm over at the dinghy, unstrapping it.
Okay, offering a
I'm
hand.
flipping it
Good job.
because I am extremely strong.
Okay, so you are also helping to flop the dinghy into the water.
I yield to Angie.
Yeah, turn it. So fucking
Oh,
find
honestly,
some shit real quick.
I will tell you, those kinds of boats are quite heavy. The three of you working together can probably lift it into the water. So whilst that's going on, Kuntz, what have you done? Are you helping?
I'm just looking for something that maybe will help us on shore, like a lantern.
All right. Well, let's.
TV dinner.
You want to try your luck and see what you find in the cabin's quarters?
Absolutely.
All right, buddy.
Absolutely.
Follow around.
Now, you have opted to draw a card because you are definitely tempting fate by dashing into the captain's quarters.
That's gonna crash.
Man's
anyway.
gotta eat.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see what you find within. Holy crow. So,
There's that. I can't go.
almost unbelievably, yeah, let's take a closer gander right here.
I'm gonna move this a bit closer.
Mhm.
There you go. Happiness.
So that's the Nine of Cups.
Like I'm
so-
dead.
It's strange. It's strange of you to dart into the captain's quarters because already you guys have scoured all over it, looking for food, looking for any useful thing. You've been over this many times as you've been marooned on this boat, and just something draws you into the captain's quarters. You're not sure exactly why, and as you scan around for one last time, you have the feeling that you're forgetting something. A feeling of deja vu that all of you will be suffering for the rest of your lives since you've gone too deep into the gray sea. In any case, for some reason, you just have like a strong feeling, and in one of the beams, you notice something is slightly askew. The constant rocking and twisting of the ship has dislodged what seems to be a secret compartment worked into the beam. However, I will tell you that secret compartments are often trapped, which you know well. You only have an instant to decide whether or not you want to reach into the secret compartment and grab what's in there. Will you take the chance?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, call Logic down. Be like, yo, fucking break this.
So
shit.
you guys are on the boat. This is all happening. You guys are actually about to hop into the water and leave his
What
ass
stat
behind.
do you need of mine?
I'm like
So we-
calling out to
we're, like,
Kuntz to
immediately
get his
dying
ass in
right
gear.
now.
Wait, what stat?
Let me
do
get
you
your
roll
dexterity
against?
real quick.
Yeah, my dex is good. It's 16.
16? All right.
That's not good.
So, in a flash, as the ship, as your companions are running off and shouting your name and screaming that they're about to take off without you, you reach into the secret compartment, which is you're a short little guy. A normal-sized man would just be able to see what was in the compartment, but you have to stand on your tippy toes and reach inside and blindly grope at what's inside, and you feel the cold metal of a goblet. When you pull it out, you see the flash of gold and realize that you have gotten something very valuable indeed. But I highly suggest that you run for the dinghy before you are left behind.
Oh, I'm running.
Okay, so cup in hand, you run towards the dinghy. So the rest of you have since managed to lower the boat down into the water along with your impromptu oar. Otherwise, are you ready to set off? Is there any other brilliant ideas?
We gotta go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to
Fuck
get
outta
enslaved.
Okay. So
Logic is the
Being
we gotta go
enslaved is
guy.
against my nature.
in choppy seas, all of you set off rowing. Now, 2 people can row. Which 2 people are going to row?
All row. I'm strong. as fuck.
Angie,
Got it.
Yeah.
Miss Strength over here.
Okay, so Angie's
Yeah,
going to row.
Muscles, muscles.
Who was our other rower?
Guns.
Not it.
Got it.
Yep, not it. Nope, I already said it. Not
I'm
it.
in. I'm in to row.
All right, so you're just going to let
Wait.
one person row? Like this
I only
is
have 8 strength. I
Yes,
can't
sir.
roll. I'm a girl.
Yeah,
I'm 5'4". 8 strength.
okay. In your moment of indecision,
Begrudgingly,
like yeah.
I grab the oar and start rowing.
Okay.
yes.
All right. So what is your strength, Logic?
Sure.
My strength is 13.
All right. So how's a rogue like outrowing the 2 of you? Ridiculous, right there. All right. So the 2 of you seize the oars and you make as well as you possibly can in the choppy seas, and you set off. So you said you were what were you, Angie?
What?
What is your strength? Yep.
I think it's 16.
16 for her.
Yeah, it's only like 16.
Okay. And then Logic, you were 13.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Yes,
15.
13.
I'm 15. I'm sorry.
Okay. So you 2 are strong enough, and the 2 of you start rowing and rowing and rowing, trying to escape this craft. However, the ship has sails, the ship has rowers, and you have 2 people in a dinghy in choppy seas. This is some of the most strenuous work that the 2 of you have ever done in your lives, and you see, as you're rowing away, you hear a tremendous crack from behind you, from the direction of the ship. So, Angie, what is your constitution?
What do you mean?
You have a stat constitution.
Yeah. So 12.
12? What have you got, Logic?
Mine is also 12.
12 for both of you. All right.
Look. We're scared.
Okay, so Angie, while you are strong, you are perhaps not you don't have the most endurance out of everyone there. And honestly, you have not been sleeping well.
Damn it.
Yeah, you have not been sleeping well for the last few nights, and your tiredness catches up with you. You're starting to wear out and can't row anymore. Whereas, surprisingly, the wiry and spry thief is able to keep up. Logic is, he realizes he's about to die. Maybe it's a strength born of rat-like determination to live. So you can see that Angie is faltering. As you were rowing to the shore, and if you look back, you can see that the ship is sinking behind you. The Earthworth ship has rammed into it. Yeah, they don't fuck around right there.
One of you guys want to, grab the oar and help out here, guys?
Yeah.
I'll jump in.
What the
and,
F?
Okay. So Zartet,
jump in, Angie,
you're
please.
gonna hop in and try to spell Angie here for a little bit.
Yep.
What's your strength?
Wait, Zartan is? What the fuck, cunt?
I can
He's
definitely help.
no, it's
bro.
fine. I
Yep.
see an opportunity here
Yep.
to help, so
Is there
I'm gonna
I
go ahead
know.
and jump into it.
I'm gonna hold
my
this against
strength
you.
is at 11.
an 11? All right, let's see what you've got. Are you strong enough? Zartet, even though you're an older man, you still got it where it takes when it comes to saving your life with an oar. So the 2 of you
Knocking that blue pill.
are making
Yeah.
significant progress, rowing ahead, but this is a tiring task, really and truly. Zartet, what is your constitution?
13.
13? You almost don't have it in you, but you're able to keep up the constant rowing, and the 2 of you make your way into the shore. You can see the shoreline getting closer and closer as the vessel behind you is creeping already behind you. So, Kuntz, you're keeping watch as this. I would assume that you're looking back as this is all going on.
Yes.
So you can
Every
see.
so often I look at the treasure
Yeah.
I have and then back at the boat.
By the way, you guys might have noticed that Kuntz is carrying a golden goblet.
Okay,
Yeah.
Goblet Man. Help me row the boat, bitch.
While the rest of you have almost nothing in terms of possessions and so forth, he has managed to wrest a golden goblet from the captain's quarters.
I've
right.
actually thought of a nickname for my goblet because we've been spending so much time here on the boat. I would like to call it the Goblet of E.T.
The Goblet of E.T. That's wonderful. So are you keeping an eye on what's going on, or are you just peering at your goblet?
Yes. No.
Okay.
I mean, ships don't move very fast, so every so often I glance back and it's approaching us. We need to definitely get on shore here.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
working on it.
the Earthworth ship has managed to disentangle itself from your vessel, and the vessel is sinking. It is broken up into two separate halves. It's like they've almost carved entirely through the ship, and their rowers have to take their oars and hooks and so forth and disentangle themselves from the ship. But in the distance, as you see the two halves sinking, the enemy ship is coming after you. So you guys are almost to the shore. I need to see, Logic, how are your arms holding up here?
I can take over.
Let's see.
How your arms doing there, Logic?
Ooh, what's your constitution?
My constitution is 12.
Okay, this was a. Can you guys see what I've got here? That's a big 11 that you just rolled there. So you
Oh,
make
thank
it.
God.
You make
I was
it,
like, please
but
another one.
you are almost exhausted right here. So you guys can see that Logic is tiring out quickly. And you can see he starts to miss strokes and so forth, and the boat moves back and forth. But you're getting closer to the land. I would say that you guys are about a quarter mile from the land, and the enemy ship is closing in.
Boots, give Logic a break, please.
Okay.
Get in here.
I
I also
will-
want to be a slave. This.
Kuntz, now to spell him with the oar, you would have to set down your shiny cup.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We'll just we'll put it in my pants and my crotch.
You're going to stuff
Can I
the
hold the
cup
cup?
into your crotch.
Yeah, actually, Angie is 15 strength. She's strong enough to hold
Can I
this
hold the
for
cup?
us.
Well, so when I'm handing him the oar, I just grab the cup.
Wait,
We're
wait,
gonna
wait.
have a swap here.
Right, so
cup.
you guys are really fucking around with a cup while I don't know if I
We're still
yeah.
we're still rowing to. Ah, God.
Can I just throw it
For some
over?
reason, I've lost load on the camera. I don't know why.
Oh, did you really? Can anybody else see me?
I see.
I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see you guys.
Should I quit
you're
the room
fine.
and rejoin it?
No, I mean you can still hear what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's the most important part of this. Okay, so
We're
Logic,
still rowing.
yeah, Logic, you're still rowing, but you're in danger of faltering. And then Zartet, what was your constitution once again?
13.
13. Zartet, you are completely exhausted. You put up a valiant fight, but you spend the last of your energy fighting against the choppy seas, and you are done with rowing. Absolutely. You are giving it your best, but you have completely exhausted yourself, and you're on the verge of just throwing up from your labors.
Prince, you have to fucking step in, right?
Yeah.
He's
I thought I stepped in.
Okay, so Kuntz is trying to step in. Kuntz, what's your strength?
You
8.
gotta step
Okay,
in.
and I do need to know, it's important, what have you done with your cup? Did you actually stuff it into the waistband of your pants?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
he stuffed it down his
inside
pants. So the rest of you are noticing, it's curious that he seems to care more about this cup than your lives.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's get fucking to shore first.
okay, so
I understand.
so Kuntz, you partly out of desire to protect your cup, you row harder than you've ever rowed before in your life, even for such a little guy. So finally, you make it over the breakers and through the shoals, and the ship is hot on your tail. They have seen that you have escaped the ship, and they're chasing your little dinghy for all that they're worth. So the four of you finally, hold on, let's see. Yes,
Now we gotta
the
fix
four of you finally make it to the beach and crash the dinghy onto the beach. And then, Kuntz, you're able to keep hold of the golden goblet, which, by the way, is the only wealth that the four of you currently possess. You have nothing else left. So, as you're beaching the dinghy and leaping out into the frothing sea and wading to shore, you can see that the ship is almost directly on top of you. It is less than an eighth of a mile behind you, and it looks like they're planning to just ram you directly.
We need to get to the wood
Yeah.
line.
They don't seem to care at all that there are shoals. They are coming directly at you.
Hey, mage guy,
Yo,
Can you,
you
like,
you know,
light them on fire or
can you do something
something?
about that?
Yeah.
I can. I have one spell called Burning Hands.
You have the spell
But I
Burning
don't-
Hands.
I don't think it'll do anything.
No, you
So,
gotta wait till we're closer. for
Do you
that.
want to engage the ship full of Legionnaires with your Burning Hands spell?
No,
found
I want to
one.
run into the woods.
Okay, so you would like to flee. What would the rest of you like to do?
Yep, I'm taking off to the wood line.
You'd like to run,
Like hobbling there.
hobbling there, and Zartet, you. So the four of you are agreed. You'd like to flee.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Well, here is your
ready.
issue. The three of you who exhausted yourselves in this fight to reach to the shore really spent almost all of your energy. So, Kuntz, you have an option here. Do you assist one or more of the people there, or do you run for your own life?
No,
Run with
we're a
the
team.
goblin.
We're a team.
You're a team? Okay, well, that's
We're
important.
I'm assisting.
You're assisting. Okay, so as you guys are running up on the dunes, you can see seagrasses blowing wildly in the strange and unceasing storm. By the way, I forgot to mention this as we were going on, but every single night you have seen a red glow from the south while this is going on. It just never
I thought it
seems
was
to
a
die
red
down.
streak.
So you saw initially a red streak in the sky, and then you saw what looked like a falling star, and then a tremendous flash of red. And ever since then, there has been like a reddish glow from the south, and you're not sure
So it's-
exactly what it is.
Is it more like a raging inferno conflagration kind of glow, or
It's
would
too
be,
distant to tell.
You know, some kind of.
Yeah, it's too distant to tell, but something is definitely up far to the south. I would say that you're talking about we lost. Oh, there we go. Welcome back, Hunts. I would say that it's
cameras.
maybe 20 or 30, probably, let's say about 50 leagues away, right? All right. So all of you begin to run to the shore, and as you reach the top of the dunes, you can see the Earthworth ship beaching as it chases after you. They just ride their ship directly up onto the shore. They don't
Go
give a
away.
fuck,
Go away.
all right?
All this for 4 slaves and a goblet? My gosh.
Yeah, exactly all this for 4 slaves and a
It
gauntlet.
was the goblet.
Well, you guys aren't slaves, by the way. At no point were you enslaved.
I mean, but they're trying to enslave us.
Well, we don't know what they're after. So in any case,
Our skulls.
all
After
right,
we lucky
so-
charms.
as you see the ship beaching, it's like something out of a nightmare. You can see men dressing in armor, literally throwing on pieces of armor and getting ready. And one by one, they start to leap off of the ship and trudge up the beach towards you as you're looking back at them. They're intended to give chase.
How close are we to the wood line at this point?
So there is no wood line. So I should describe what you're seeing. So right now, the three of you are standing on top of a sandy dunes, a sandy big sandy, obviously like a sandy dune. So you're standing on sea grasses, and ahead you can see just for a long stretch, it's just grasses and driftwood, and the closest cover that you can see is maybe about a quarter-mile distant. There are like a few stunted trees and so forth, but you guys are pretty deep out here in the open. If you want to make for the wood line, you're going to have a bit of a run, and it does seem like those men want to chase you.
Mm-hmm. That's quite a run. Wow.
Well, it doesn't really sound like we have many other options either.
So as of right now, two of the armored men have leapt into the water and are trudging down the beach after you.
Trudging or running?
They're So they're in armor. So they
Yeah,
are
what kind of
slower
armor?
than you are.
What kind of armor?
It's relatively heavy
Everything.
armor. They're wearing breastplates and chainmail.
We can make our way as long as we're just outpacing them. We can make our way.
Okay.
But we got to do it.
No, are you
Gotta
sure?
try.
Is
Because,
that your
like, we're
decision?
all
You're gonna
dead.
run?
No, there's like 3 of us that are dead.
Well, you're tired, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there's like 3 of us that are pretty much dead.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Is there do I have any way of making a sandstorm with my magic?
Well, what's the spell that you have memorized? Is it Burning Hands?
Burning hands.
No, I'm still deciding here.
No, you decide at the beginning of the adventure. So you have one
Oh,
spell that's
okay.
memorized, and
What do you
I'm
do?
gonna rule it's Burning
Oh,
Hands.
If it's just one, then I probably would have made it friends.
Friends?
Make all our hands burn?
Yeah,
Hey,
friends
don't
sounded
get-
like an awesome spell.
You don't have-
Well, now it does.
Okay.
But this morning, I bet you thought Burning Hands sounded better.
Okay.
No, that Burning Hands was the shittiest spell. I added it last.
You added it
Armor-
last? Okay.
Armor's my favorite one. Yeah.
Armor
probably
is your favorite one?
or
Okay, well,
magic
pick.
missile.
Wait,
Just
how
be
many of
honest
them are
here,
there?
and like if you had to pick before you knew anything about this, if you had to pick one spell, that's the one that you have, right?
Magic missile.
It's like I honestly was either gonna pick armor or friends because I thought we started off in a spell, so I thought I would make friends with the NPCs in the town.
Okay.
Sorry, started off in a town. I didn't realize we'd start off in combat.
No,
I
I
don't
didn't
know,
realize
probably
that.
just armor. We'll make it
Okay.
armor.
Okay. So you that tracks with your character. You're on a ship. You don't know who's your friend and who's your foe. And Burning Hands would be a terrible spell to have memorized on a ship. So let's say that's
Oh my
that.
God.
Zartet,
only
what
does
spell
3
did you
damage.
prepare? You're our other spellcaster.
Okay.
Well, let's see. I had them picked out.
Mhm.
How many people is it? Do we know? Or is it just
So
like
so
a
far
bunch?
you've seen
so
two.
far.
You can see quite a few people on the ship. There look like there may be as many as 30 or 40 warriors on the ship.
Brought their weapons.
Entangle.
Mm-hmm. You took into okay. Well, now's the time. So, are you? I assume that you guys are trying to retreat still. You can see the beginning of a forest in the distance. And does anyone of you want to like try and remember anything about the area? Oh, yeah, never mind. I shouldn't be
I'll
leading.
try
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I'm taking note of the coast.
Taking note of the coastline and so forth. All right.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say that Zartet, you would probably have the best chance to remember the area, being as you are a druid, and so forth. So let's
And old.
and old. What's your wisdom again?
Old.
14.
14.
That's no bonus.
Okay.
No bonus.
So Zartet, you're able to somehow, after all these days of being blown ashore and knocked all over the place, you're able to recall that this is in fact the island of Moria. You have made it back to the Isles of Insanity, and your ship has been blown all the way off course through the lake back to where you began. Relatively,
Oh, fucking
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, you guys have been. You're not going to make it to the king anytime soon, but you don't know exactly what part of the town you're in, or what part of the island you're on. From the trees, if those, if like what you're seeing with those trees and so forth are correct, that might be the Skater Forest, Sketer, and if indeed it is the Skater Forest. You guys are only about 4 or 5 miles away from a town.
So is this the
Are
island?
these?
Is this the island we
Sorry.
originally left?
Yes, this is the island that you originally left, and you realize that after 2 weeks at sea, and including like a week of just sort of aimlessly drifting, the currents have driven you back to pretty close to where you began. You are, as
Just
of
to
right now,
clarify,
Mhm.
Are these Earthworth dudes at all affiliated with the king?
the
Politically?
King of Rent. No,
Are these the
they're-
king's men?
They're
Okay.
they are politically at odds with everybody because they tend to enslave people and behead them.
Right.
Yeah, most people are not down with that.
So, if I'm familiar with this area, can you point out, like, kind of on the map where I would know we're at? Because I don't see those.
Sure.
names.
So, do you have the map open in front of you? I'm going to open this up
Yeah.
for people right here. Okay. So, I'm sorry that I got to get screen share working on this at some point. And then Okay.
Lots of
So
locations,
if
yeah.
you look on the map right here, so there is an area called Rusk Cove to the very left, and there's an area called Pies right there.
I see it.
Okay, so the Skater Forest is probably about, see that little divot to the west of Pie? Yeah, that little cove right there would be that forest, and then there is a town not too far from there. So you could essentially, if you guys head south, you'll get into the area of that town. But I must insist you are currently being pursued by these guys who are about. They have now made it through the waves and they are running in your general direction. 2 more men have leapt
Wait,
off, and there are now 4 of them chasing after you.
Are they King's people? Like, are they people from wherever I'm from? Like, can I pull some strings?
Generally,
So,
like the
I am.
only negotiating that Worth Legionnaires do is like die fast or die slow.
Oh, great.
Yeah, you could try, but
I'd rather not die at all.
they don't have a good reputation. Even with like a lot of your memories gone and in the fog, you're aware that these are nice people for the most part.
What's the range on Entangle?
So Entangle, I believe it's like a 40-foot area. And then how close is it? What are you guys doing right now, by the way? Right exactly now.
Running.
You're running? Who's running?
Yeah, I'm corralling. I'm making sure we're making our way.
Okay. So everybody is
Trying to
currently
keep an eye
running.
on how fast the guys are going, and trying to just make sure we're outpacing them.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a little info on the spell of Entangle, which is a 1st level spell. So, Entangle. You're able to cause plants in the area of effect to entangle creatures within the area. The grasses, weeds, bushes, and even trees warp, twist, and entine the creatures, holding them fast for the duration of the spell, which is 10 minutes, and it actually has a pretty decent range of 80 yards. However, you are utterly exhausted. So the 3 people who are totally exhausted here, Angie, then Logic, and Zartet. I need each of your constitution scores again.
13.
13?
Yep, 13 for Zartet.
Okay.
Mine's 12.
12 for Logic.
Oh, me. Constitution
Angie?
is sorry. It's 12 also.
12. Okay. And all right. Well, here's the situation. As the 4 of you try to run away, you find that Angie and Kuntz are strong enough to make it, but Zartet and Logic put everything that they had into their rowing. They just don't have the strength to keep up with you. And before you know it, the Legionnaires are within 100 yards of you. There are 4 armored men, and more seem to be on their way. So they're within about 100 feet, and both of them begin to charge. So what actions do you want to take? Starting with...
So I'm too exhausted to cast Entangle.
I don't think that you're not necessarily too exhausted, but you're going to have to really put in an effort to try and do it. You would have to fail it or pass a check to do it.
Of course. Can I tempt fate with a card?
That's what I wanted to hear. All right, Zartet. Let's see what the fates hold for you. So, unbeknownst to many, Zartet is actually a practitioner of the ancient druidic arts. He has a indelible connection with this landscape where he was born. And, oh! So, gaze upon... There's a lot of cups happening in this situation here. Gaze
Yeah, they're all
upon...
fucking pants, dude.
Yeah. But I want you to look at what are you seeing here running from all these cups? Tendrils, right? Lines.
Tendrils.
Lines that entangle your foes.
Oh,
That is, so It may not look like much from the top, but under every network of sea grasses are deep roots that allow them to hang on in the constant storms that batter this ragged coast. And as the Legionnaires close in on you, and you guys are wheezing away, those very roots rise up and wrap around their armor. And so these are heavily armored men. They're clutching war axes, 2 of them, and 2 have vicious-looking long swords that could rend a man in half. However, they're defenseless against these entangling roots that rise up and trip them, wrapping around their ankles and holding them against the ground. And they hack and chop, but more roots come and come and come. And eventually, the 4 men are completely entangled. They're unable to move. And indeed, you're so successful at casting the spell, as others move in to try and chop them out, they too are entangled. And the whole of the group seems to be afraid that the entire dune has been bewitched, and they hang back, giving you guys time to flee. So the 4 of you run your asses off for the woods, and as you're running, you notice a watchtower rising over the line of the woods. So you don't know whether there are people in it or not, but you can see a watchtower. So you're moving towards the woods. So you could either run towards the watchtower, or you could try to evade it. But probably at this point, if there's anybody in there, they have spotted you.
Is the watchtower in line with the red thing? The red.
No, the red light is difficult to see now that you're on land. At sea, it was always something that you could kind of see coming from there. But now, let me see, what time of day is it? I want to say it's actually, it's about midday, and the sky is overcast right now, so you can't really see that red glow.
I think the watchtower, we could get trapped in there.
Well, and
Should go hide in the
just to
woods.
clarify too, that everybody hates the Legion.
Everybody does hate the Legion, as far as you can remember.
Just gambling here.
Mhm.
Probably the watchtower. If there are people in it, maybe they'll hate us, but they definitely hate those guys.
It's
Well, my
worth
guys-
considering.
Sorry, go ahead, Angie.
What if we pretend we are those people? Why do they know anything about us?
Right. I mean, if we get deep enough, that could be true. I don't think these guys. I mean, if nobody around these parts likes these guys, they're not going to chase us too far inland, right?
It's up to you.
One would hope.
Never hurts to go hide in the woods. Trees are everyone's friend.
Yeah. Well, we got them tangled up, so let's just run towards the watchtower and approach cautiously.
Do you guys agree
I
with
would-
Zarta?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the old man.
So, the 4 of you are running. Oh, by the way, Kunz, where's this cup the whole time? Is it still stuffed down your
Still-
pants while you're
still
running
in
for
my
your life?
pants. Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Is it a fine metal? Do I know that?
Yes,
Does
it's
he know
gold.
that? Okay, it's gold. Okay.
It was until I devalued it by putting it in my pants.
That's the nice thing about gold. It doesn't tarnish.
Yeah, great.
Um,
Thanks.
Okay. So,
So we have money.
all right.
Meanwhile, I'm keeping an eye on the watchtower to make sure.
As you approach,
to
okay.
see if there's people.
As the 4 of you, it's a good thing that you said that right there, Logic, that you're keeping an eye on the watchtower, and because you are leading the pack as you're running towards. And as you're running up to the watchtower, you hear a cry to halt. So, what is your wisdom?
My wisdom is 12, and when I hear that, I'm like, stop, stop, stop.
Yeah, yeah.
To
Okay.
everybody else.
What's your dexterity?
16.
Okay. And what's
That's a high
your?
number.
Let's see. You have armor class 10 right now, right? Okay.
Yes, I'm just wearing essentially
Okay.
rags.
So, as you throw everybody to a halt, you hear the twang of a bowstring, and you manage to duck in time as an arrow flies directly over your head. You can feel it almost parting your hair, and thuds into a sandy bank directly behind you. So they've taken a shot at you, but you can hear squabbling inside of the tower, as if like somebody is angry inside of the tower, and you recognize the language that they are speaking, which is Iranic.
So I yell at the tower, or I yell as loud as I can. There's Legion. There's Legion coming.
Legion coming. Okay, great, fantastic. So a head pops over the tower, and you can see a balding man who just has a wisp of hair at either side of his head, and he says, "The Legion? Like, why didn't you say something? Like, we thought we didn't know who you were." And next to him, a young boy who has like kind of like a mop of curly red hair is stammering apologies, and he looks like he's on the verge of tears. And he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shoot at you." And you immediately make out that this young guy is the guy that took the shot. Maybe he came off half-cocked. So upon hearing that the Legion is coming, the balding man is rummaging around at the bottom of the watchtower, and he produces a brass horn and puts it to his lips and blows a clarion call of warning. Or something of that nature. So he lets off a call, and a little bit down the way, you can hear another pipe pick up the call. One by one, they all start to pipe up. Okay, so let's take a pause right here and spend a little bit. I'm going to grab a drink and so forth, and let's be back in like 2 minutes or 2 to 5. Like, hit the can if you gotta. We'll be right back.
Shout out all the chatters.
Yeah, shout out to all the chatters watching this. I got big Milkness right there. And yeah, they coming. Oh, check out Puppy right there. Look at that
You guys
grandma.
like my troll Slayer shirt?
Wait. Oh shit. Oh damn.
All right.
Oh, it's your Huckleberry right there. Hell yeah. All right, I'll be right back.
All right.
No. I think you're missing your spells, babe.
I don't have spells.
Everybody else has spells. Do that, let's just go.
All right. Be right, B.
Herb.
Good Lord. Curse those Earthworth dogs. What cable am I on at the moment? Hey, Chumbas. Woody will be right back. Good God almighty. Now, what have I got here? I got neon rainbows. So I just thought I'd shout out to Gay Pride with my drink selection.
What is it?
It's a neon rainbows.
Oh, dude,
I'm about to take a shot.
You're about to take a shot? All right. What are you about to take a shot of, Lit Up?
Oh, she's probably gonna take Tito's vodka.
Uh-huh.
But I got a 99.
Wait.
I'm gonna wait.
Wait,
Okay.
Yeah,
You
I'm just
shouldn't
sipping
wait.
on this until I'm done. I don't want to be too retarded.
Oh yeah. The last time that we all played D&D, we all got way too retarded,
Yeah,
and
it
I
was
think
just
I think
it was a
it
shit
became
show,
a
and I was
story
like,
about they
"Kill
just like
that
attack.
guy, that old
Well, I'm not
man."
playing D&D,
Oh, yeah.
but
You guys
whatever.
fucking attacked a castle like by yourselves and just got really fucked
was-
up.
It was excellent decisions all around. Like, definitely. Oh,
Yeah.
God. How awful.
What a time in our lives.
Yeah. I'm just
Alright.
sipping right now. Just
Yeah,
to-
I'm about to do the same right here on some scissor.
I just-
too, honey.
I know.
We got ice cream as well.
I know.
I'm having fun so far. It's really good, Lou.
Me too. This is so much fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
Well, I'm wondering what the fuck is going on now. Oh, okay. Thank you, Stratum, for explaining what a chumba is.
What do you say?
Tuba.
Isn't that like a band? You know, like you get knocked down.
Oh,
It's
God.
from Cyberpunk.
Fucking
Well,
Chumbawamba.
You know what Chongo is?
Chongo? No, I don't. What's a chongo?
Chongo is Puerto Ricans call black people chongos, and if you like go online and translate it, it translates into island monkey.
Huh. Well, why would they do a thing like that?
I met mad Puerto Ricans, and they always call black people chongos. They'd be
Why
like,
would they
"Fucking
do
chongo."
something like that? That's so wrong. You know? That's so wrong. Because I could tell you some things about Puerto Ricans I've known in my life that are not so
No,
salutary.
yeah, there's no Puerto Ricans out here. We got Samoans instead.
Yeah.
Instead
Although-
of Puerto Ricans, Samoans.
When I first came to New York, I used to work with this Puerto Rican guy. Holy shit, this dude could work. And part of the reason why I'm not like welding fire escapes today or working for the fire department was this dude at one point like took me aside. He's like, "Hey, retard, I know why I'm doing this work. Why are you doing this work?" And I was like, he's like, "Get another job, idiot." Because his hands were just like fucking gargoyle claws from years and years of working, and he was like tough and ugly, and every weekend he would just drink Bud Lights until he passed out, because he's like, I want to be drunk for longer, so I drink like beer with less alcohol, so I can drink like 80 of them.
I learned pretty quick. As long as a Puerto Rican does not sell cocaine, they're probably a pretty hard working dude. You know what I mean? You have like two
I
Puerto
mean,
Ricans.
selling cocaine
one
is a
that
lot of work
do a
too.
hard
You know,
job
just
and one
putting it
sells
out there. It's
cocaine.
not fucking
Yeah.
easy. I
No,
remember
I don't give a fuck.
I remember one time this Puerto Rican dude, he's like, pull over the dump truck. I had to drive the dump truck because he had like so many DUIs. He's like, pull over the dump truck. And I'm like fucking with the weird dump truck transmission. And I'm like, all right, what is it? What is it? Did something fall off the truck? And he's like, no. See that cart? I want to buy 4 Frankfurters. Do you want a Frankfurter? And it's just, I should do it. I want you to buy 4 Frankfurters. And I sat there and watched that guy eat 4 fucking Frankfurters, or hot dogs, as we would call them right there. He just devoured those hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
It's the most important thing in his life.
I'll do 8, no problem. I'm just saying.
Yo, what if we had a hot dog eating
8
contest?
Frankfurters.
Would you chug hot dogs? Lit up.
Well, it depends what kind they are and everything. There has to be the right kind.
All right. What kind of dogs would you chug?
Nathan's hot dogs with the natural casing.
All right. Nathan's natural casing hot dogs. How many do you think you could eat?
I can do 8 in like half an hour.
8 in half an hour. Fuck, I could eat 8 in 8 minutes. That's not
What
a
I'm saying.
that's not a
I'm
feat.
not that. I'm not. That's not impressive, yo. I'm
Yeah.
not really that
All right.
impressive.
All right. We're just waiting on Kunz, right?
What?
Kunz, are you there?
He's coming back, yeah. I don't know what he went to go
I'm seeing a trend with young Kunz. This capricious wizard.
You know why our microphone stays on all the time? It's because the air conditioning is on all the time.
Mhm.
It's so hot outside.
Wait. Right?
It's not too bad.
Green.
Yeah.
Do you see how we are green
Yeah.
and nobody
Does
else
it
is
sound
green?
awful?
That means we're on. Our mics on all the time.
Yeah, it's actually like your air conditioner is like very low. That microphone is not picking up a lot of it, or I would have complained about it. Like I yelled at Logic because
But it's still keeping the mic on.
Mhm.
For real.
But it's off now.
No, it's not. It's on.
No,
Yeah.
the
No, you're on the whole
it's
time.
off.
Yeah, we're on the whole time, babe.
Yeah, I know, but the AC is off.
Yeah,
just hit him, like yeah, just nail him.
it is on the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean,
How
Whatever.
do we fix
Yeah,
that?
we'll next week we'll get the audio issues fixed out there. Okay. So any questions about the world or what's happening that you want to have out of character before Kunz gets back?
I just want to ask.
I just want. I want to know. I want to know.
Babe, you're not even playing.
Yeah, you're not playing. You're not playing,
He said
Leto.
any question. This is before D&D.
This is not even you.
He said any question. One, two,
Stop
three.
it. You're not even part of this.
Alright.
Yeah, you're not part of this.
I have a
Which
question.
way are we heading right now?
So right now you guys are headed south, right? You definitely landed on the northern coast of the island, but you're not 100% sure. Zartan only has like a faint idea of where you are. He's roamed all over these islands, and he has a good
Yeah.
idea of what's what and who's who. But yeah, something about going through that gray sea you've forgotten. a lot of what's happened here. So it's
Okay.
difficult to say.
I expect sort of, since these are the people on the farthest out, I guess, guard tower, that whatever response is going to be showing up is probably going to be completely inadequate, I'd imagine.
Okay.
Is there any, like, is there any kind of, I mean, if we marginally know the area, well, like, what is the state of politics in the area? Is it just like proto-states that are all subject to constant raiding by the Legion? The king, like, how are we on the fringes of the kingdom? Like, what's kind of,
So
you know?
that's a good question. The Isles of Moor, which is what you're on, which some call the Isles of Insanity, are very much on the frontier of the kingdom. While nominally, this region is essentially a fief of the kingdom of Iran, it's always relatively difficult to collect taxes and get people to do anything here. Which is actually, like, we talked about that a little bit in our backstory. Oh, check out this cat. What? Look at this character. You see Kuntz's cat, like, batting at him? That's amazing right there. Zartet, is that your stream on
if you hit watch stream, it should show the map.
Let me see. Cool. Let me see. Oh, it takes over the whole map right here. Cool. Okay. Yeah,
Are these people that I hate?
say that again. The people that you hate, Angie. See where it says the teams over here? Can you see this watch stream thing?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Watch stream.
So everybody west of these mountains right here are the people that you hate. What some people call the Westmorians. They call themselves the Morians. They're not down with like the whole Westmorian thing.
Okay. I hate them all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not a fan. You're highly racial. Okay, so let me.
Don't like them.
I'm gonna turn
Sorry.
off this watching thing. Okay, cool. Can you kill that stream?
Sure.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, I like it when it's just the five of us right there.
Okay,
what,
yeah, me too.
what's this cat up to?
Way better.
It's wilding out.
Way nice.
Okay, so this should end our Q&A. Well, actually, now we have more time because Kunz has vanished. But, so essentially, it's more or less a feudal type society where the king has tax collectors roaming through. There's some limited local government, and in fact, the reason why you guys were all sent to the reason why you guys were all sent over here is the Duke of Moor ordered that you went, or he was going to have you all castrated.
Can we assume how far will the Legion go to pursue? I mean, if they've disembarked, are they going to torch any village they come across in chasing us?
So here's the problem. The Legion really shouldn't be here. They really are a northern problem. So to get here, to get down here, they either sailed all the way around the lake, right, in like a big sea, or they somehow sailed their ship all the way through the dark center of the lake and completely lost their minds.
Villagers and offer them up as slaves.
Stop. Yeah, so we're back in the game there. Welcome back, Kunz. Shout out to... All right, so the animals on the screen are Puppy on Angie's screen, and then what's the name of the cats, Kunz?
Glitch.
Glitch the cat.
Glitch. Just from that anime Pixar movie. I forget the name of it.
Oh, yeah. I did not see it, but... okay, so... as this is going on, the horn has been sounded, and you can see legionnaires have broken away from the entanglement spell. What are you guys doing? Are you just standing there at the base of the tower? Are you continuing to run?
Yeah, I guess I'm keeping my eyes on the guys and say, like, well, I don't know. I'm not saying anything, but I'm just like walking forward as I'm pointing backwards, like, hey, there's Legion.
Yeah, we're like hastily running towards the tower. Legion.
Okay, you're running
Since
towards the
I'm
tower,
small
and they've sounded the alarm, but you guys are continuing to run past the tower and head south.
Can't you hit them in the wings and they get them on the ground?
Stop.
Yep, you're not in the game. Not in the game. Stop that, let him. Okay,
Hear me.
Guns, what are you doing?
So, have we decided to go to the tower, or are we going to the forest?
So let me give you an idea of what this tower is. The tower is about 25 feet tall. It's 4 logs, basically lashed together with like a bunch of planks together. They're sunk into the earth. It's not the most sturdy thing that you've ever seen in your lives. Some might call it.
Sound like a safe place to go. I
Yeah.
think we should go to the
No, it's
forest.
not. So I'm telling you guys to come out of the tower, and we gotta go.
Okay, so Logic, you shout up to them that you got to run, and the man shouts back down, "We can't leave the tower. You know, we have to defend."
All right.
Well, good. Then there are patsies.
Yeah.
Oh, good luck,
Looking
guys.
well.
You guys.
You're just gonna leave them to their fate?
There's 30 of them on the ship, man. There's 30 of them.
Oh, do you say that?
Yeah. I'm like, there's 30 of them.
There's 30 of them?
You're not gonna.
Okay. All right. Let's see how persuasive you are. What's your charisma?
12.
All right. Unfortunately, this guy thinks you're full of shit. Obviously, he's like, "Yeah, there's 30 of them. Get the fuck out of here." He's starting. He doesn't believe you. To tell you the truth, like he sounded the horn, and you can hear him arguing up there with his son. And he's like, "It must be drunks."
So I turn back to the rest of you guys. I'm like, guys, there's 30 of them.
Okay.
Well, I hope they have enough arrows. We
Okay.
should get going.
All right. So you're gonna run past?
No. I agree with Zarza.
Okay.
I'm already running towards the forest.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
you guys continue running on.
Closer than me.
And I'm going to say that at this point, Zartet and Logic and Angie, you've all managed to catch your breath. And you're, even though you're still pretty tired out, you're no longer in that like fatigued, crazy state. So as you're running off, you head towards the forest, and looking back, you can hear the twanging of bowstrings, and it seems like they have realized, oh shit, there really are a bunch of legionnaires coming for them. So,
Or even take our advice.
essentially the legionnaires seem not to worry about the arrows coming at them from the old man and the boy, and you can see them begin to start to chop down the tower with their axes. It doesn't go too well for them. So as you're running into the forest, the last thing that you dare to like look back and see is them essentially chopping down the tower, and the tower begins to lean over and crash down. And the young man, or the old man and the young boy are still trying to fire arrows as the tower crashes down. And I don't.
Do they take any of them out?
It doesn't. It seems like their arrows are just kind of deflecting off of their armor for the most part. You do not see any legionnaires get dropped.
It's the worst day ever.
Not really.
Well, for them.
No, for
Not
us.
for everybody, but this worth it.
Okay.
Hey, we're alive.
Yeah, you're not that bad.
I've still got that goblet. I'm
You
happy.
still do have the goblet stuffed down your pants.
You're all alive and shit.
All right. So what is once we get to the wood line? What is the situation with the wood line? What's the layout of
Okay.
the landscape
So,
here?
essentially, you're now at a point where there are paths that you can travel across. So there's like a clearly beaten path through the woods. It's not like a full road or anything, but it's clear that people travel along this way. So there is a road that you can follow into the wood, and it's clear that it's led from the guard tower. But in the background, you can, as you're standing here, they are essentially hacking these people to pieces behind you.
Can
So
we deviate from the fucking the actual like road and like maybe find a place that's safe?
so
Or if we just keep going further inland,
Yeah,
and
but they're
you
gonna
know where
follow
those other
us.
towers, they will, but we'll stay ahead of them because they're in armor.
But
Look at that. Look at that.
but at the
Good
same
friend.
but at the same time though, they're still just gonna do the same shit. So it's like, but they're still what? Are they looking for us?
you don't know.
That was going to be one of my questions. Is like, do they have
We
some
don't
sort of
know.
magical?
I know. Like we don't know.
You know?
Well, they're clearly after us because who would crash their ship into a sandy
big,
beach
yeah,
and chase
yeah.
us with heavy armor?
Okay, yeah. So like,
Um,
I would say maybe deviate from the path. I don't know which way. 'Cause I can't.
Okay. You only have a short
I would
amount of
agree
time
with
to make
that,
this
but
decision.
once-
Yeah.
We're going on the road for now, and then we'll
Okay.
deviate later.
Logic, you say go on the road. Angie, you
'Cause I
say off the
agree,
road.
I agree, but just, you know.
Kuntz and Zartet, you get to be the tiebreaker. Where do you want to go?
The options are.
You can either try and follow the road or try to run into the brush and see if you can lose them.
all the way into the forest, baby. I love forests.
Okay.
Artet loves forests.
Zartet, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Well, can I got a question first. Would I know that they may have been able to identify the ship we were on as like a king ship or something like that, doing business of the king or something like that, and that's why they're trying to chase us down, or they're just kind of savages that just go after their prey? You know.
What's your wisdom?
May I intervene here for a quick observation? If they knew we were 4 weaker people that were exhausted, they wouldn't have put all their armor on and slowed them down. So the
Yeah.
fact that they armored up and went slow means they don't actually know who we are or how dangerous they are, because they sort of played it safe. So I think we should just keep on running.
I feel like
They think
a
we're
vulnerable
dangerous.
baby. I'm
Okay.
scared,
You guys
so-
need to make a decision quickly. They are
If
still
we stay
chasing
on
after
the
you.
road for now. They're slow. We can deviate later, but now we got to put more distance between us and them. That was my whole argument. I agree with Angie 100%, but just further down the road. We don't, because I don't. Maybe they have some means of determining where we are that doesn't involve seeing us. You know what I mean?
Okay, so a
fine,
couple
fine,
of the
Wherever you
chopping down of the tower has ceased to lose their interest. One of the legionnaires has spotted the 4 of you, and 3 have broken from the pack, and then another joins them. So 4 of them are trotting after you, but several are remaining behind to deal with the remnants of the 2 tower watchmen.
Okay, if they looked over and spotted us, then maybe they don't have some magical vision or something. So let's go into the brush, I guess. I'm like, whatever. Let's go into the brush.
Into the forest.
All right, so it looks like the consensus is to dash into the forest.
Tagging along.
Okay. So you guys have lost a little bit of time because what essentially transpired while this was going on was an argument between all of you, like, go this way, no, this way, and you hesitated, and it's going to cost you some time. But fortunately, you have somebody with you who is like 2 people who are strong woodsmen. And as you run through the woods, you slowly manage to lose them. One of the things that you notice about these legionnaires is that they don't run after you. They have like this kind of jogging gait in their armor, and you can, even as you're running away, you can hear them like kind of clinking along, and they just have like this slow chung 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 chung, this slow gait, and it seems like they can just jog after you in armor all day. They never seem to slow down, and they never seem to tire. But, however, once you get into the woods, you are able to start making some distance from you. But every time that you look back, they're still there, somewhere in the distance. You never quite manage to get exactly out of their sight, so they're continuing to chase you. And in the very, very distance, you're starting to hear the barking of dogs. Did I lose all of you guys? Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
I can
Okay.
hear you. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So you can hear dogs barking in the distance, but you do manage to make some distance from them. And armor-clad persistence hunters, they very much are.
How is it
Milkness.
that they're able to keep pace with us wearing all that armor?
Training.
So
probably.
it's going to be an interesting question for at some point. You do not know. Men in armor should not be able to run for so long. They seem
Maybe they're illusions or something. Magical.
Or just their god really likes them.
you're welcome to go back and ask them to find out if you want.
They had their Wheaties.
Maybe we could go deeper into the forest and try to ambush them.
Okay. Well, Zartet, you are in your element right here in the forest.
Mhm.
So, Angie, are you still with us? Or
Yes.
okay, cool. So
Just push
Angie
them.
and Zartet, you're really in your element here in the forest. Do you want to try and cover your tracks and lose them somewhere? Do you want to? Okay.
Can I try to cover the tracks?
Okay. So the 2 of you together can combine your woodcraft abilities and try to get in here. Angie, what's your wisdom?
wisdom is 13.
13. And what's yours, Zartet?
Wisdom is 14.
Okay. So you guys are pretty wise in woodcraft, and I would guess that the Legionnaires aren't the greatest trackers that ever
They
have
seem
been.
like cards,
Okay.
so-
Okay.
Any other
So
spells?
you that was definitely your only spell. At level 1, you only have one spell, and it's quite wise to run away for the most part, just as in as a general level 1 note. So you find a marshy area where it's sort of like a salt marsh, where there's like a few streams like running through the area, and it really gets into kind of a bog. And while so far you haven't been able to elude these guys, you decide to make your way through this salt marsh, trusting in your woodscraft to guide you through the areas of quicksand and so forth. And you are indeed successful. The two of you working together are able to chart a safe passage through the salt marsh where the Legionnaires cannot follow. In fact, for the first time, you can see them just getting bogged down in their heavy armor. And in fact, one of them starts to sink, and the others don't help him. They continue trying to venture forward, and they get caught themselves. They really are kind of unstoppable in their way, but they don't seem very intelligent either. A lot of their
Were these
actions are
sent
kind
back from the future to kill Sarah Connor.
of... there really is something in the way that they act that seems almost inhuman.
Robotic?
Not their movements aren't robotic, but there's something wrong with them. It's definitely something that rubs you guys the wrong way there.
AIDS. It's fucking AIDS. Nigger AIDS.
Okay.
All right, well, great. Thank you, Lit Up, for your contribution. You fucking idiot.
Stop.
Yeah, stop. Really and truly. So, continuing on. So, you managed to lose them in the Salt March. So, congratulations to Angie and Zartet there. You get an experience award for your action. And similarly, Zartet, by using your Druid spell, you gain an experience award for using the functions of your class. That's how it works. In I know when you do something for your class in
Would,
AD&D.
Would Zartet? This is kind of a little bit out of character, so
Yeah,
you know.
that's fine.
But would Zartet, as a druid, have an instinct about how unnatural the Legion guys are?
No, because it's not as if they're like undead or werewolves or some shit like that. But that doesn't mean that Zartet won't have a sense of things that are unnatural. But just about everything that humans do has some element of unnaturability. Yeah, it. So it's not like they're abominations or anything, as far as you know.
Like Kazar's Legion.
Hey,
But
Logic. Sorry, real quick. Is your mic actually coming out of your microphone?
whose?
Or is it your webcam? Logic.
It's
Logic.
yeah, it's like sticking out the side.
Yeah.
It's super loud.
that.
and
Yeah.
staticky.
Yeah.
No, no,
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like kind of
It was
crackly and so
better
forth.
last week.
Yeah. Well, let's just power through it right now because we're in the middle of the thing. So no troubleshooting
Hey,
now.
I want to hear
Yeah, we had our chance a little earlier. We're gonna work through it. He just has a naturally coarse and smoky voice as a rogue. He's like a fucking I'm Batman. Yeah. So yeah, he just has kind of like a gravelly voice. You've noticed, and he speaks a little too loud. It's one of his defining character traits. So moving along.
Perfect for a thief.
After you lose these guys in the woods, you notice a whole troop of guys running. There's basically an area after the marsh, sort of like a clear plain, and then further on there are more woods. And running out of those woods, you can see a whole troop of what look like a militia. They have bows. Some of them have spears. A few are just holding hoes or shovels. And they seem to have assembled in response to the call of the watchtower.
Can we talk to him?
You absolutely can. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
affiliated. That does not seem like they're affiliated with whatever the fuck is going on. To
They're
me,
they're probably not legionnaires.
I don't know. I'm just
Do you
saying.
recognize
So-
them as a
It could be the
ranger?
lesser known Ho division
Okay,
of the Legion.
let's find
Yeah,
out
but
whether.
they got fucking shovels. Like, come on. Like,
Hold on
it's
just a
not gonna
second.
be like-
So we're gonna find out
The
whether
other guys
you see
got
them
fucking
first or they see you first. So that's the party,
I don't want to ambush them.
and then
I
okay.
don't.
So they see you first, and a few people cry out like you're so tired from running after the legionnaires and so forth that they manage to spot you, and a few people point you out, and it seems to be a troop of about 20 different people armed, and a few people are wearing like pots as helmets. Very few people have armor and so forth. It really does look like a kind of a ragtag group. And so a few people are calling out to you, like, "Hark, who goes there?" and identify yourself and
I'm
so
gonna
forth.
start waving my hands and say,
I'm gonna say
"The Legion
hark,
is coming."
hark.
Okay, so so Zartet is the first to call out there. So you're calling out to those people. Zartet, what is your charisma?
I think that was Logic that was saying
Or,
that.
I'm sorry, Logic. I'm
Yeah.
confusing the two of you.
I'm
Logic.
waving my hands and saying, "The Legion is coming."
Okay, Logic, what's your constitution, real quick?
It is 12.
12. Ooh.
Oof.
So
We don't
Sound good,
need
Logic.
anyone.
so Logic, you reach out to these guys. You know, the Legion is coming. The Legion is coming. And one of the leaders of the group, he's probably a leader. He's got a big flowing red beard, and he is quite a heavy-set gentleman right there. He's probably twice the size of a normal man. And you recognize this as Big Earl. And the reason why you recognize him is that this is a guy who caught you picking his pocket. And I think at the time you were maybe like 14 or 15, and he grabbed you by your scrawny little wrist and just held on and spun you around by your wrist and actually threw you like a discus, and you slammed into a wall, and it actually pulled your arm out of the socket. So you don't have a good memory of this guy, and he does not have a good. Oh, it's Mila. Oh, that's. Oh,
Baby.
the dogs are my favorite
Sorry,
part.
Animal
I-
companion.
No, it's totally fine to have Big Mila up in the
Sorry.
scene. So anyhow, he immediately is unhappy at the sight of you. He recognizes you, and you're able to remember this whole thing. And he's like that fucking thief, Logic.
Fuck.
And like, what are you idiots doing here?
It is, but the Legion is coming. The Legion is coming.
The Legion, and there's a moment where he obviously doesn't want to believe you, but at the same time, the horn has been sounded, and a few of them are like, like grab him, like lock him up, because essentially he has gotten the idea
I've
that
changed.
whatever trouble has happened, you are the culprit there. So it seems you're just at the point where it seems like the mob might be turning against all of you. Does anybody else want to say anything?
What about like my dad
I've
was
changed.
military?
I don't think that your protest that you've changed is gonna change his mind there.
Fuck. Okay, go on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What did Logic steal back in the day?
You have no idea. You don't know him well enough to
Well,
know.
Logic has to know.
Yeah, Logic does know.
Wait. Was it a goblet?
But this is a split reaction, and you have very little time before the mob makes up their mind whether or not they want to seize you. Has anybody else got anything quickly?
Give him the goblet and see if they'll
Yeah.
take it.
No.
Give dude.
I just kind of like step in and say,
Yeah.
Now is not time to tarry. We have to carry on. The Legion is on our tail.
Okay, so Zartet,
They'll
you
be
are
here
actually
soon.
much better known in this area, and there's a pretty decent chance that he would know who you are. What's your charisma?
I have 13 charisma.
No,
I could
where
probably-
was Zartet right now? What's your charisma?
Okay.
10.
10.
Well, look
No,
good.
but you're well known.
So,
everybody knows that you're
Zartet,
cool.
you can see in his eyes that he's surprised to see you. He's like, Zartan? Like, what are you doing here? Like, what's going on here? What's with this idiot?
Yeah.
So he recognizes you, but he seems astonished to see you at all, almost as if he had seen a ghost. And so he's willing to listen to you, though. You had a position of authority on your farm, and Big Earl knows who you are. So you were able to talk him out of just seizing you, and he accepts your explanation that the Legion is arriving. You tell him about the 4 that you left stranded in the bog, and warn them about the salt marsh there. They still know, but it's just the kind of thing that you would tell somebody there. Here's a spot where as soon as they hear that the Legion is coming, everybody finds it difficult. It's clear that they both find it difficult to believe, and they're worried it might be true. So they ask you how many you saw. They ask you what happened with their ship. Here is a spot where you can impart information to them if you so desire, or you can mislead them.
Or mislead them. Do I know if they're untrustworthy? Like, is Big Earl like a scumbag or something?
You're having a hard time searching your memory for what you know about Big Earl. You know that he is cruel and has a reputation for a heavy hand, not just with those who cross him, but some people who don't deserve it. But at the same time, he is a hard worker, and he has raised a large family.
Right now?
You are surrounded by the militia. You guys are in their midst right now.
Alrighty then.
Angie, what did you ask?
No, I'm just saying, like, what if we just say fuck it and run away and be like, all right, Big Earl, have fun with that one.
Well, they've already decided that they're not going to seize you. Yeah, this is just a point where you can talk with them and ask them things because they seem like they're hesitant to answer the call now that they realize that there are legionnaires there.
Maybe we need Big Earl on our side to be cruel towards those legionnaires.
All things equal, though, we also want to save our own hides.
Okay.
So
And just to give you guys like a basis for comparison, these guys that you're seeing right here, they would get slaughtered by those legionnaires. It wouldn't even be like a close fight.
Oh, great.
I say,
The
I've been
friend.
saying this for 15 minutes. Let's just run into the woods. The woods are everyone's
You just ran
friends.
through the woods.
yeah, we ran through the woods.
Yeah.
Run through them again.
There are more woods. There's always more woods that you can get to. The other part of it is a few people are asking you, what happened with Russell and Chert? And a few people are asking you, what happened to Russell and Chert at the guard tower?
Dead.
Oh,
Dude, they got fucking.
Yeah, because you ran away. Because
They didn't believe us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
okay.
So it was like, dude,
Maybe we should.
So I like Logic's comment there. That is exactly what he would say. They didn't believe us either. I really like that. And then so as you explain that they're dead, a general unease is falling over these people. And when you explain that there are like 30 legionnaires on their way, many of them are saying like we should turn back and go back and try to defend the town. Like we can't fight them. Big Earl, meanwhile, is urging them on, saying like other people will answer the call. It's our duty to fight. He seems to be urging people to go and try and take the battle to the legionnaires.
is there a way I can like tell Big Earl to like be on our side? Is there a way I can entice him?
Yeah, you could absolutely. You could try to persuade him to do whatever you want. You can always try and persuade somebody, and it's just a charisma
wait,
check.
Question though.
Mhm.
Big
Well,
Earl, how
tactically-
is his armor
Say that again.
versus how is Big Earl's armor?
Big Earl
versus
has
fucking-
no armor. Big Earl is wearing
We're gonna need
a
to
big
trap
leather
people in the
apron,
bog.
and he has
We're gonna need to
yeah. So Big Earl, just to tell you what he's wearing a big leather apron with pouches in it, and he actually has a cleaver. That is his weapon. So Big
Oh,
Earl is
the
apparently a
only chance
butcher.
we
That's
have
cool. Pretty
is if we
badass.
actually put up a defense against these guys is to go back to the edge of the bog and somehow like throw rocks at these guys until they all get bogged into the bog. Otherwise,
You have to
we're
be
just gonna have
friendly.
to run into the hills or whatever people around here do whenever the Legion shows up.
Okay,
Can
so
Zartet cast entanglement again, or is he done?
he's done. Yeah, he'd need to rest for a little bit. You guys are level 1. Zartet, now that you've recognized Big Earl and so forth, you are understanding where you are. You're further west than you thought you were. In fact, you are on the other side of the Pierpoint Mountains and well into the area that you would call West Moria. So these people are West Morians for the most part.
So we're like where
Black.
West Cove
You're
is?
west. So your farm is in Pies, which is where that little cove is, and so forth. So you guys are about on the other side of that mountain range from Pies. So you're probably like about a 2-day walk back to Pies.
They said something about going back to the town to help
Mm-hmm.
defend it. How far away is the town?
So Zartet knows. You do not know. So you could ask. You could ask Zartet, and he could tell you. So let's just assume that you have been like, how far is the town and so forth. So Zartet, you're aware that these guys have been summoned in relatively short order by this horn. It is only about a mile back to town.
And which town
So,
is that?
just-
So the town is a town called Bouerge, Bourge. So Bouerge is little more than a village, though they are set up on a raised hill right there. There are probably about 350 people total living in Bouerge. These 30 people that they've managed to scramble and so forth represent most of the able-bodied men that are available right now.
So a little bit out of character. Well, not, but it's in-world knowledge that when the Legion shows up, is the typical response in the area to just run to the hills, basically, since we're just going to get mowed down.
Okay, so this is going to be a wisdom check for you because the Legion is not something that really happens in this area of the town.
My wisdom is 12.
Okay, you're able. Generally, people run from these guys rather than fight them. The thing about them that you've heard in stories is that they're somewhat slow and ponderous, and the people who really get fucked up badly are the ones that stand and try to fight these guys in their heavy armor. This is information that you are welcome to try and tell these people if you would like.
Yeah, I would try to explain that, like, hey, these guys obviously are up to no good. We
Okay.
stand no chance
So-
of fighting them.
As you're trying to explain this,
Trapped in the bog, or
it's clear that Big Earl doesn't want to hear anything that you have to say, but more and more of the villagers are starting to be won over to your side. Because really, these people never expected to see the Legion out here. Most of these watchtowers are just basically for standard pirates and raiders and so forth, who do not show up in heavy armor and behead people and so forth. They just show up and steal shit. Zartet.
Have any of the other kind of men there recognized me like Big Earl did?
Most people have kind of know who you are and tend to seem a little surprised to see you for the most part.
Zartet.
Also,
you need
most of the
to,
people know who Angie is because Angie used to work for the Crown,
She's the strongest person we know.
and she's the biggest person there.
I think
Beat the fuck out
Zartet,
of-
you need to convince these people that they have to abandon their town and run to the shadows and/or forest. What time of day was it again?
So by now,
Said it was
you've been fucking
overcast.
around for a bit. It's getting into mid-afternoon.
Run to the
Yeah.
forest and hide.
Let's make our way deeper into the forest. I could protect you there.
Well, I mean, are these people gonna be our homies or not?
Well, we're just
Well,
trying to not
I
have
think-
them all die.
Yeah, like
Well, if they're gonna die like the other one.
save the village by running.
No, you're gonna fucking just let it burn?
Okay,
I don't know.
So,
Well,
as you've been
if you-
standing here, sort of in indecision,
it will be
you can
our
see
guardians.
Sorry.
sort of running around the edge of the marsh that you guys skirted up the road. You can hear the distant sound of thundering feet, and as they approach,
All right, we gotta
birds
go.
are crying out and everything in alarm. This is yeah. So, and then the townspeople are Big Earl is like, there they are, let's get them. And people seem
Big
very
girl, you fucking idiot.
yeah. So he's actually headed off that way with his cleaver in his hand, And you're realizing for the first time, Big Earl is fairly drunk at the moment. It didn't really like dawn on you right now, but something about the way that he says, "Let's get him." You realize that he is fairly sauced at the moment right there.
Yeah, yo, Earl, you're drunk. You're gonna get everybody killed.
Okay, Zartet, you're going to try your Constitution again if you want to turn the crowd against him. You want to give it a shot?
Is it Constitution or Charisma?
Well, it's actually, because you already failed the check, you could tempt fate.
Yes.
Um,
I mean, fuck.
yeah, no?
Yeah,
Do you want
I
to
will
try it? You never have to
Yeah.
take a card, but you always can take a card.
You
All right, let's
do
find
a
out.
best- a best of 3.
So
Okay.
Yeah, actually, Joey, you're drunk.
the so Zartet was able to convince a few people, even though Big Earl initially he told everyone like, this is just a shitty thief. You know, I remember he like tried to rob me one time. At the same time, where he's like, yeah, the other people didn't listen to us either. People are starting to pay attention to your side of the story, and you tell them because you, for some reason, you remember more stories of the Legion than others do. You tell them that when they come out knocking, you have to run and hide. And some people can see the sense of what you're saying. So, in fact, you are totally successful at as you begin to speak to the people, you feel inspired in a way that you have not previously, and you start to normally, you've tried to mislead people before, and you've tried to talk your way out of things and so forth, but you've never spoken to a crowd of people and made an argument before them before. And really, you start to find that you have a knack for it, and that people listen to you when you pipe up and speak, and you can feel that you have their utmost attention, and they, one by one, they start to look at each other, and they say, he's right. We'll just get slaughtered. Like we can't follow that drunk to our deaths. And Big Earl angrily gestures with the cleaver, but more and more, it's clear that people are listening to you, not to him. And they, everyone agrees that they must run back to the town and get away from it. And you do this in fairly short
Job,
order.
Zartet.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope Big Earl's not too sore about that.
I think he's going to be dead soon.
yeah.
Well,
so
I'm just looking at Earl like,
Yeah.
this is what you get, bro.
yep. So this is absolutely it. So all of you run back towards the town, and in fact, more fortunately, once you start running back to the town, one of the townspeople with you has a horn, and they start sounding it. They're blowing the horn and playing in some kind of coded language and so forth. And they, all of you, run back to the town of
Is Earl
Bourges.
following us?
Say that again.
Is Earl following us?
Eventually, like when he realizes that he's the only one willing to charge at the Legionnaires, Earl kind of shamefully follows after you, just looking utterly dispirited and calling people cowards and so forth. But it's clear that he's lost this fight. So all of you run back to the town of Bourges and raise the alarm. Women, children, livestock, everything is gathered up, and people grab the valuables that they can and run off with you guys into the hills. People pick up bows and arrows and so forth, everything that they think will give them an advantage as they're pursued by there. And in the distance, you can hear more and more horns of people converging. I'm sorry, Zartet?
Sorry, is there like an extra bow for Angie or?
At this point, so you guys are clad, and it's clear like the clothes on your back are the only things that you have. And so this is a good point. At some point, as people are arming themselves and so forth, you ask if anyone can give you a weapon. And because all of you guys, even though you're pretty bedraggled after weeks at sea, it's clear that you're strong fighters and have already escaped the Legion and so forth. So each of you is given a different weapon to defend yourselves. Zartet, you're given an old staff that's cracked on one end, but it's a quarterstaff, which is something that you have used previously in the end. Logic, you are given a pitchfork. Angie,
Oh, wow.
you're given a short bow and a quiver with 7 arrows in it. And then you are given a claw hammer, cunts. That's all that they can spare for you.
Nice.
Just a hammer. So each of you note down the equipment that you have received here.
Sure, 1 second.
Extra hammer.
He sucks.
Hammer man.
Hammer man.
Oh, by the way,
I
Zartet,
guess.
your pitchfork is, or I'm sorry, Logic, your pitchfork only has 3 of the 4 tines. It's missing 1.
My claw hammer is complete, though. I have both the claws.
You have, yeah, both the hammer part and the claw part are functioning. And then Angie, your bow is totally fine. It's a serviceable
Thank
hunting
you.
bow.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is a
Do I
recurve
have
hunting bow.
a wooden handle or a steel handle?
It's a wooden handle.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah,
That
just keep that in mind. It might come in handy. You know, it might be important. Okay, so Zartet, a few people have kind of given you odd, or I'm sorry, not Zartet, cunts. A few people have given you odd looks and been like, "What's in your pants? What's going on?" Like a bunch of people, even amidst the hubbub of like sort of evacuating the town, a few people are like, "What the fuck is in your pants? What are you doing?" It's strange.
Well, basically, I reach into my pants and I grab the gauntlet. It's just filled with gold coins
Goblet.
and jewels.
Goblet.
Goblet, yeah.
Yeah, it's not, the goblet is not full of gold coins and jewels. It's just a
Oh.
golden goblet.
No way you could have preserved that.
Yeah,
Damn
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Anyways, I pull it out and I show them. I go, I stole this from that fucking captain. Boy.
you say to the townspeople that you. All right, so luckily, everybody is too busy evacuating their town to be concerned with your open admission of theft. But many people look at you strangely, and it's clear that you have lost esteem in their eyes. Yeah, they're just
I have 13 charisma.
this fucking guy. What? That you don't even get a check for that. That's ridiculous.
But
Um,
idea.
Okay. Anyhow,
Tempting fate.
yeah, he's testing patience, more like. So, oh wait, somebody just wanted to bet $100 on Zartet to win. I'm telling you, he looks like he very much is the. You look at this guy and you think druid.
Yeah. You look
What's
like
the
a
background?
Yeah, you can't argue with that. Okay, so everybody evacuates out of the town, and sure enough, as you're all fleeing apart and they're driving herds of goats and so forth from the town,
Oh.
the legionnaires begin to appear on the horizon and start running up the path to town. And as all of you are driving the animals away and so forth, you can see the first flames start to spread over the town of Bourges, and it's clear that they plan to put the entire thing to the torch. But as you're watching from a distance and running away from them, you can see that there's a strange hesitation to the way that they're acting, right? It's as if they're doing something that they've done many, many times before, but they're no longer certain why they're doing it. A few of the legionnaires stand around with like blank looks on their faces, and it really is a strange sight that many of the villagers remark on. So, as this is going on, they continue to blow the horns and sound off, and slowly an army begins to converge around this tall hill that you've retreated to. And you start to see more and more men who have reasonable weaponry. Some people wearing shirts of mail, some people who have pikes, a few people who have bows and so forth. And they begin to assemble something that looks much more like a fighting unit than the sort of dispirited townspeople that you had previously. Or not dispirited, but kind of like ragtag, right? They were very spirited in the defense. So around you, a force of almost 200 men begins to assemble, and slowly they begin driving towards the town. While this is going on, you notice that the person who's calling the shots and so forth is a man that you know, Angie. So his name is Baron the Red. and he's known because he has like a big red beard. So Baron the Red is acting as the commander of these forces, and unfortunately, you guys are not well armed enough to like join up or mount much of a defense. But you can see that what they're doing essentially is they will advance on the Legion and fire a bunch of arrows, and then begin to retreat when the Legion comes after them, and they start to encircle them and pick them apart. In fact, finally, somebody manages to get an arrow through the visor of one of the Legionnaires' helmets and drop the guy. And it's the first one of them that you've seen actually fall in combat there. And eventually, the Legionnaires realize that they're getting surrounded and retreat. They start thundering away. And the army begins to give chase for them. But a few people get too overeager and chase too close, and the Legionnaires wheel on them, and then it is a slaughter. Out of a bunch of swordsmen try their luck against them, and to a man, they are just decimated and carved down. And afterward, people keep a careful distance from the Legion fighters, and you see that they are slowly driven away back towards their ship as they're retreating. So while this is all going on, like you guys have stayed out of the battle thus far, but there is an army essentially chasing them back in the direction that you came from. So you can decide what you would like to do here, whether you want to try and attach yourself to the army or whether you would rather get out of this predicament.
I
Well,
just want to get back home to my goat.
You are now at a spot where...
Well, we have to report to the king.
No. Yeah, you're still in a considerable bit of trouble with the local gentry and so forth. You're far enough from the area. You're far enough from the eastern part of Moria that like nobody will know immediately. Like, oh, these are the guys that were supposed to go apologize to the king. But eventually, word is going to get around, and somebody will come looking for
aren't
you.
we like
If-
we're already
if
2
we-
weeks late to the king, and then it's 2 days back to home.
No, it's a month journey,
But-
so they don't know that you're not there
At
yet.
the same
Oh.
time,
Yeah.
if we do follow this army and somehow interact with them, maybe this Baron the Red guy who's in charge can at least write us a doctor's note or something. You know what I mean?
Big
Well, I
Ed,
got
or no,
some
what's his
info
name? I forget his name.
So
Eric
I
the
apparently
Red.
know the guy. So
Oh, Baron
I
the
say
Red.
we
I'm sorry.
help out the
Angie, what
town
did you say?
defend
I don't want you to get
themselves.
drowned out here.
no, yeah, you're fine. Like apparently, like I'm cool with the guy. So I don't know. I mean, I think I'm cool with the guy.
So
Am I cool?
Baron the Red would know who you were because you used to be a tax collector for the king. But hold on, let's see whether or not he had a good opinion of you.
As is he unfavorable towards me? 'Cause if not, fuck.
He did not like you during the
All
time
right,
that you were
great.
hanging out together. Yeah, he didn't
I
like
didn't
you
like
almost at
I
all.
wouldn't like me either. It's fine.
I think we should help out the town defend themselves, and then we might get some loot in the end. Our troubles.
Well, people are now going back to their town, and at this point, the battle has been raging on all day. You're getting close to nightfall, and all of you are at this point almost totally exhausted. You're really wiped out here, and so
Is there any chance of trying to? I mean, it's like try to put out the fires in the village.
so
help out. Anyway.
most fortunately, people showed up here. I would say that about half of the village has burned down, but the other half is salvaged. So right now, there's like a lot of weeping and wailing and so forth. But fortunately, because your warning got to everybody, all the villagers were essentially spared. And in fact, there were none of the villagers in sort of that attempt to overwhelm the legionnaires, where all the people got carved up. So essentially, as people are looking around, they realize that the reason most of them are saved was because of the warning that you gave them. And people realize that sort of logic persuading them to run has saved the town, even though about half of their houses have been burned down and so forth. And so many people are coming up to you and thanking you. And eventually,
You're welcome.
yeah. You've done a great deed this day in helping these people out and managed to save the village, not through strength of arm, but through wit and words. So well done there.
Through running away.
It was sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. So one of the houses that was saved in the thing has a large barn, and they're offering to put up everybody for the night because
Hell
it
yeah.
does look like a storm is brewing. So they're offering to put everybody up for the night, and as thanks to you, they offer to let you sleep in their hayloft. And they say that they will make a meal for you if you're willing to accept and spend the night.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
How nice.
Bless you, child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you
Probably our
willing
first meal
to?
in how many days?
You guys are hungry, by the way. This is
Yeah.
although you did have biscuits and so forth to eat on the ship. This is going to be the first fresh food that you've had in a while.
Wait, there's
okay.
There's
Tendies.
delicious Triscuits.
All right. So if you're willing to accept, then you spend the night in the hayloft of the
Can I
Jewelson's
interject?
farm. Say that again. What do you say?
Can I memorize a new spell before I go to bed?
Yes, you can. You both. Anytime that you guys like sleep, it's assumed that you will replenish all your spells, so you can learn another one, or learn a different one if you like to. You didn't get to use armor at all, unfortunately.
I'm gonna use friends. I think we could use.
You're gonna
some
learn
in
friends.
the next
I think
adventure.
that's a solid one right there. So
Some homies, please.
say that again.
I was just saying we need some homies.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
about
So the
how
other
you're
part
doing.
is that the people that took you in and let you sleep in their barn are the Jurlsons. And so as they're inviting you to dinner, they tell you a little bit about what's been going on the island since you've been on the trip. The strange fire that happened in the sky. So you eat a wonderful meal, and they actually give you some clothes and things so that you're not quite so haggard looking, and take care of you. And they're very appreciative because the father. Oh, thank you, Zartet. I do remember that you're Zartet. It does make it easier. Oh, I wonder if I could do that. I could actually set up an overlay.
How are you gonna do that?
His camera is through OBS. Oh, that's so much
Oh.
easier. Yeah, I could actually set up an overlay so that it has everybody's name in it. That's a really good idea. So,
Die for IRC was wondering.
well, thank you, Die for
Oh, yeah,
IRC.
and somebody in chat asked what our classes was too. So
Oh
we
yeah,
did our name and
yeah.
our
We said it
class.
at the beginning right
Oh,
here.
Next time.
But I'll make an overlay that works with this, and we'll set it up so that it has each person, and I can just migrate it around. Okay. So, where were we? So what you learn over like the most delicious meal that you've ever had? They make you rabbit stew, and there are corn cakes and crab cakes, and it's just the best thing that you've absolutely ever eaten because you're famished.
Sounds delicious. I
Incredible.
love crab.
Yeah.
So
Crab cakes.
Crab cake.
the word that you hear from the Jurlsons, who are very appreciative because probably they would have been killed if not for you, they tell you about the strange fire in the sky that went down. So between, there are two main isles of Moor. You guys are on this the sort of western isle, and there is an eastern isle, which is sparsely populated, and then the mainland of Iran. So joining them is a region of shoals. Zartet, do you have the map handy?
Yes.
What have I got written on that region of shoals right there? Here, hold on. Let me just go to this map. I should remember this off the top of my head.
I could share it real quick.
Yeah, this is the Derelimus. I think that this guy is. So let me go back to our guy here. Oh, here, let me look at
Counts as an animal form.
the Deramelis right here. So if you look at yeah, nice transmogrify there. The Deramelis. So essentially, bridging these three islands is a region of shoals. And when the tides are low, the sea or the lake drops almost 20 feet, and this big raised sort of highway of shoals connects the three islands. There are very significant tides in this part of the world. So what people will do is they'll take carts and roll them across the shoals, and it's the primary trade route between Vorabrink, Porto Moria, and I can't remember the name of the town it's like Hokai or something like that, directly above there. North, yeah, Ganzat. So these three towns are bridged by trade that travels across these shoals in the low tides. And one of the interesting things there is if you get caught, essentially with, you have about 12 hours where the tides are low enough to make it across this. And at the end of that, if your wagon loses a wheel or something like that and you're stuck on the shoals, you have to abandon the wagon, or you won't have enough time to make it to the other side and you'll be caught because all this will flood and become sea. So what you learn is that it seems like
Is there like a whirlpool in the middle?
there is a big whirlpool in the middle, which is where everything sucks into. In fact, like it's very perilous to be on a ship at low tide there, because you'll get sucked into that whirlpool. And indeed, there's like a lot of wreckage of ships and so forth at the center of the Berelimus. So what you found is that apparently a star has fallen and struck the center of the Berelimus, and nobody has been able to make it across the shoals ever since. So trade, it's very cute. So trade has been completely disrupted. People aren't able to ship supplies across. Anybody who sends travelers across, nobody makes it back to tell the story. And you're hearing strange tales from everybody. And there's a red glow rising from the center of this that at night you can see as bright as a beacon. So nobody knows what's happening there, but everybody is exceptionally worried because in a lot of these areas, they're very dependent on this trade. They're to get food and supplies back and forth. And because the shoals are so perilous and so close to the thing, you can't take ships across this area. So
Just currents, right?
yeah, there's currents, there's high areas of shoals and so forth, and there's the whirlpool. So without the ability to trade across the shoals, most of these towns would have never been here. So it's extremely dangerous, and everybody is worried about what it means. Oh, oh, what did you?
Dead weight.
Oh, look at this dog.
I was like,
Oh,
dude, really?
oh, he's like, what's
So,
up?
load during the day, the water goes down.
Yep.
Carts and horses can go across for trade. Are there like pirates and thieves? I assume that now.
So
it's like a
normally
concentrated area.
this area is actually relatively well patrolled and so forth,
Wow.
because it's
Such a
people
major
understand.
trade
Yeah,
route.
people understand if we don't get food and supplies across this way, then people on the Moor Islands will starve for the most part. And similarly, there are things that the Moor Islands supply, like medicines that only grow here, and certain crops that you can't get on the mainland, and a lot of the good fishing is on the Moor Islands and so forth. So while like these areas could survive independently of each other, they're not set up to do it, and there would be great suffering if essentially, indeed, it becomes impassable. But nobody's sure at this point what's happening, and everybody is ill at ease. You find out that in the like hot storm that hit your ship, many areas of cities were destroyed, and there were earthquakes and sort of tidal waves and all sorts of calamities that befell the islands, and especially hard hit was the mainland.
And we think that this has something to do with the red streak in the sky. Sort of causing it?
What when they talk about this, this explains like the red streak in the sky that you saw, the sort of fire on the southern horizon. Something is happening down there, and probably nothing good for the most part. But also, at this point, not your problem. So, but well, now you know a little bit more about what went down and there. So, our adventure for the night or for tonight is going to draw to a close right here. But I'd like to. Everyone has performed well and played a major part in saving the town of Bourges. So congratulations right there. You guys are the heroes of there. And it does seem like maybe tomorrow you'll be rewarded with more than just like a hot meal and a hayloft to sleep in. So well done.
Word.
So everyone has advanced to level 2 by virtue. So yes, you've done it. So
Two spells.
yeah, 2 spells is like so much more than 1. So by virtue of that, and as you're finishing up dinner and so forth, the Jorolson says, the patriarch of the Jorolson, Ben Jorolson, says, "There's something else I'd like to talk with you about, but it can wait until morning and when my wife isn't near." So,
Whoa, hookers.
Awkward.
um,
Oh, weird.
so at the end of the adventure, you have a golden cup. Everybody is a little bit wiser, and you have some very meager weapons. So
I
good
like
job,
that we just had this
and
whole-
we will reconvene on our next adventure to find out more.
You know, whoever's got that map, can you post it in IRC?
Yeah, it is posted in IRC already, and it's also there's a D&D channel in the Discord that you can get access to, and it has both
Oh,
maps
nice.
posted in it. And next week I'll have like a little bit more
Oh,
maps and
I
such.
didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hell yeah!
Hell
All right.
yeah.
Well, thanks to everybody who watched, and yeah, it's a promising start to the adventure right there. Thank you to our intrepid adventurers, and shout outs to Puppy, Mila, and Glitch.
Thank you.
All right, later, everybody.
Happy to